Hi, my name is Susan Norwell, and I am so thrilled to be able to welcome you to Rett University. I have been in the field of special education for the last 38 years. I'm just getting older all the time. And I have worked probably for the last 35 years with girls with Rett. Though I say probably the first two girls I met with Rett syndrome I owe a big apology letter to, as I really didn't know very much about them. But then I met a young lady who was originally diagnosed with autism. And I knew autism. I had been working with kids with autism for many, many years. And I taught her to read and to communicate and to do all kinds of things because I knew that was within the realm of possibilities for individuals with autism. When she was diagnosed with Rett syndrome at the age of 5, I had this big aha moment because everything I read about Rett syndrome said that those things weren't possible. And thanks to Marissa, she was the first girl who really taught me how to really listen, pay attention, read all the nuances of an individual with Rett syndrome. I have been blessed over the years, the last 27 years I've been in private practice, to be seeing more and more young ladies and even older ladies and little girls and little biddies with Rett syndrome, and I've learned a tremendous amount from these kids, one of which is that I think we're hampered more by misperceptions and hampered more by misunderstandings than anything in the learning process for girls with Rett syndrome. And again, I say girls with Rett syndrome. I've met one boy with Rett syndrome, but my bulk of my work has been with girls with Rett syndrome, so you might have to forgive me for that. About 4 or 5 years ago, I started formulating this dream in my head that as I traveled and as I met families, teachers, spent time in classrooms, I realized that there was not a solid knowledge base of how to teach girls with Rett to read, how to teach them to communicate, how to teach them to be part of a classroom, how to help staff understand the nuances of their communication so that you could stand with assurance on what they know. I realized that it wasn't that there were mean-spirited teachers or teachers who didn't want to figure this out. There were just teachers who just plumb didn't know. And there were families, because they were coming to the conferences, that were hearing from me and from other individuals that were working with girls with Rett syndrome, the possibilities. Oh my gosh, they were so excited. They left the conferences going home to their school teams, talking about the possibilities, talking about what they had seen. But there was really no place to direct them to for people to figure out the how. Okay, I get it. I get she can learn to read, but gosh, how am I going to do that? And quite frankly, as I'm getting older, it's harder and harder for me to travel as much. It's harder and harder to travel, period, these days. But also there's a part of me that says, gosh, is this fair that only families that have the resources to bring somebody in for a couple of days to work with their school team should have a good education for their girls? So all these ideas have been percolating for years, and I was really desiring the ability to create a platform, a technology-based platform where we could provide systematic training for what to do with a child with Rett syndrome from the time they're first diagnosed to when they are an adult. And I was blessed to be able to go down to Florida and meet Ingrid Harding when I worked with her daughter, Sarah. And I sat around the table with her on the first or second day and just said, you know, let me share my heart. Let me share my dream. This is my vision. This is what I'd really like to do. And she caught the vision immediately. So for that, I'm going to be forever grateful. And in a little bit of time, though it might seem like a long time to you, but in a little bit of time for us, Ingrid's like a dog with a bone. She's not going to let this go. We have a platform, Udemy, that I'm very, very excited about. I find them to be quite responsive, easy to work with. I get how the mechanics of it work, being a tech person. We have a board. We have advisors. We have a system set up, and now the weight is on me and a few others who are just beginning this journey with us to create some coursework for you. So I am thrilled to be a part of this. I think this is a way that we can move forward learning for girls, and also actually better the platform for learning for lots of kids. Though our goal is really to look specifically at Rett, I think that by teachers and families coming together and looking at these strategies that work, they will find that a lot of them are useful for lots of different kids. And really that's what's in my heart, is that I really don't want any kid left behind. You know, I know that was a nice little jargon and a bit of political rhetoric, but truly our girls are being left behind all the time. If they're not being taught to read, if they're not being taught to communicate, if they're not being taught to write, they're being left behind. And I hope that what you catch from me is my excitement over this possibility to disseminate strategies, how-tos, ways to use the iPad, ways to integrate technology, ways to build communication that are working. They're out there working for a small population of girls. I would like them working for a large population of girls. So, welcome to Rett University, and I look forward to seeing you in many classes to come.